What's going on, good people? Welcome back to another episode of B Wayne Presents, sponsored by Promarketize. Don't just advertise, Promarketize. As always, I'm your host, B Wayne, and I'm here today with Renetta. What's up, Renetta?
Hello, how are you?
Doing well, thank you. Renetta, tell the good people your age and where you're located.
I am 50 years old and I am located in Nashville, Tennessee.
She told me she was from Nashville, and I immediately thought, you know, y'all know what I thought, Nashville, right? But from what I
That's not the case.
understand, that's not the case.
It's not.
So, how long have you been in Nashville?
This will make 19 years.
Unbelievable. So can you tell us a little bit about life in Nashville? So I
Yeah,
won't be thinking about just, a bunch of good old boys in the honky tonk place and line dancing and but it is the home
it
of
is that.
country music, right?
It is the home of country music, but people fail to realize it's also the home of some of our Black artists too. So there's lots of history around Black music here. And so they forget that because the country music scene took over. And
Right.
that's okay, but we just know there is so many of us here, and there's lots of places to go and hang out with our music, our people, good eats and stuff. So there's lots of things for
I
our
bet the
people to
food
do.
is real good.
It is
Yeah.
Southern food, absolutely.
Okay. What kind of food do you like? What's your favorite food?
Oh gosh, popcorn is my favorite food.
That's different. That's different.
But I love most foods, so I'll go with Italian.
I love
Because of
Italian.
the pasta, because it's easy. I can make it in real quick.
I love Italian. I love pasta. Throw some seafood in there. I
Hmm.
love it. I love it all. Yeah, I know I'm kind of a foodie, but I,
Yeah.
I legitimately am. I can claim it because I don't know that there's anything you could ask. You could be like, hey, B, would you eat this? Would you eat that? And I'd be like, nah, I'm not going to try that.
Hmm.
Like,
There's
I'm not
only two
allergic.
things. I don't want beets and I don't want no lima beans. Other than that, I am
All right,
okay.
you got me on beets. I'll eat them, but they're not good. Lima
Yeah,
beans, I love. I love lima beans.
damn.
If you season them right with some butter, a little salt and pepper, you season them right, put them with
Oh
some
no,
rice.
Granny didn't cook them like that. Maybe I need to try them like that.
It's cooking with fatback.
No, she just put them in some water. I don't even know if she put no seasoning.
That's probably why. That's probably what it
Yeah, they
is.
were gross.
Okay. I love it all, but this ain't
Uh-huh.
about me. So popcorn,
Yes.
pasta, Italian.
Uh-huh.
What else?
That's about, well, I mean, I love Southern food, of course,
Okay.
soul food. Um, yeah, I love wings.
Yeah,
I like pizza, but that's not where I'm gonna tell you I want to go eat.
I got pizza in the fridge right now. I'm about to give me some leftovers. Um, let's talk a little bit about who you are
Okay.
and what you're about. So, what do you do for a living? What industry are you in? And how long have you done that?
So I really hate to talk about this because guys tend to get intimidated.
Uh-oh.
And there's no reason to be intimidated. I'm so feminine, see? But I am a general contractor. I am a residential and commercial general contractor by trade. I do the work, find the business, and I get at it.
Very cool. Very
Mhm.
cool. I thought you were going to say something like, I don't know, I'm a cop
Oh,
or, a bail bondsman maybe, or I'm a detention officer. I can see that, but I mean, a contractor, okay.
I have had guys run away.
What is it about being a general? Maybe I don't understand what a general contractor is. What when you can you be more specific when you say like
Mhm.
is that repair or construction or
It's both. So I do both. Sometimes as a general contractor, generally you get your general contractor's license because you want to build. And so I do want to build more homes, but I do a lot of commercial work, which is really where the money is because the same wall I can put in a house, I can charge four times as much in commercial.
Hmm, okay.
Mm.
How long have you been in the industry?
So I've had my business for the last 3 years, but my grandfather, bless his soul, he wanted a grandson. I was the first grandchild, and so they didn't come for 10 years. So I learned a lot. And he taught me everything I know about homes and cars. I can repair my car, different things like that. So I try not to mention those things because, again, guys are like, what? Well, it's not just because I know doesn't mean I'm going to do it. I usually pay somebody or my man, depending on who that is. They
I,
get it
I
done.
I respect it, and I understand what you're saying, but I understand and respect where you're coming from. Me personally, how I feel, you got to put it on the table
Hmm.
and let somebody decide is that their cup of tea or not, as opposed to it's kind of like catfishing. Like
Yes.
all right, you give somebody a picture of you from 30 years ago, and
Hmm.
then you meet in person, they're not going to be attracted to that individual. They're attracted to who they thought you were. And then when they
Right.
come across the reality, now you got to start all over again. So I I I love it. I dig it. I'm not, and I've admitted this on social media. God did not make me a handyman.
Mhm.
Um, I tell a woman I can't fix you nothing but a sandwich. And it just is what it is. So if you much
Okay.
respect to men and women who can build and repair and
Mhm.
create in that way. That's not how he made me. But I respect it. I've had vehicles that I, get for cheap.
Mhm.
And if I could have been able to make little minor repairs, I could have saved myself a ton of money.
Right. Mhm.
It is what it
Yeah.
is. To each their
Yeah.
own. So, fellas,
Yeah.
she's good with her hands. It is what it is. And what? Um, so I respect it. So, okay, let's talk a little bit about your interests.
Mhm.
Obviously, I would imagine you enjoy being hands-on, building, creating, fixing. You can. You don't always, but you can. So I
Yep.
imagine you take some pleasure in that. What are some of your other interests?
Yep. So I love music, all kinds, but I love going to concerts. I love going to comedy shows. I actually love to read books.
Give me a couple of your favorite artists if they're in town. You like, I got to go to that concert. Present,
Um,
past or present.
okay. So Mint Condition is one of the top ones that I have not seen yet. I
You
don't know if you have,
send me swinging. Yeah,
or Pretty Brown Eyes.
yeah.
um, I wish I could have seen
Stokely,
Prince.
Stokely
Yes, I love
Carmichael.
stuff.
No, I've never heard anybody say this. That boy, he can sing, he can sing. He's one of the best. He's one of my favorite male vocalists that I've ever heard. Him, Brian McKnight,
Mm-hmm.
and throw in I don't know whoever your favorite dude is. Stokely can blow. He's
Yes,
got
totally
pipes.
can. Yes,
Okay.
he does. And I think that, well, that's probably for another show, but I think that
Wait a
he's
minute. Wait a minute. What was that?
he's
What's for another?
underrated. I said he's underrated. Like most
He's
people.
definitely underrated.
Mhm.
But you were about to say something. He was like, "No, that's for another show." I was
I
just
did. That
curious.
was what I was about to say about him.
Okay, yeah,
Because
yeah. No,
I
no, I
love his
agree.
music.
No, I agree. No, yeah, he's never gotten the real recognition
Hmm.
as far as vocal talent from
Hmm.
anybody that I've heard. Like he's never been kind of a featured guy. I don't know. It's kind of weird.
Yes, it is. But I wonder if it's not just because he doesn't want to be in the forefront like that,
You could be
which
right.
that might make more sense than he just hadn't had the opportunities because the opportunities should have definitely presented themselves over the years.
I think a part of it, unfortunately, we're in a culture where, and it's been this way for a while. It's not those who are the most talented that get the most recognition, but like who are the most popular. You know what I'm saying? Because if
Mm-hmm.
it was just about talent, there's a lot of male and female vocalists or artists who would have gotten, I think,
Yeah, yeah,
gotten to a greater status due to their talent.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Like Angie Stone, even though she recently passed, I
Rest in
think she,
peace.
yes, she's one we didn't really until now. And it's kind of like, man, she was a vocalist too. I mean, she could really do some things. But
Yeah.
for concerts, I want to go see October London and Coco Jones. I want to see them. Those are new on my list.
Heard
So,
of Coco. I haven't heard of October.
oh yeah, October is the new popular guy,
Okay.
vocals.
Okay.
He's good. Mhm.
It's gonna be him and Coco doing a show, or you're
It was
saying these two
him,
different.
Coco. They're on a show together, the two of them, and I think Maxwell is on that show. I think.
I remember him. Okay.
Mhm.
Very
Mhm. I've
cool.
seen
Okay.
Maxwell way too many times.
So smooth, jazzy R&B,
Mhm.
or what's the term? Almost like floetry
Mhm.
and Maxwell and we set them aside. Those type of artists, they're kind of a Coco Jones, almost not quite alternative, but not true
Neo
urban
soul.
R&B. There, neo soul. Thank you. Okay, so that's what you like.
Yeah, I like, well,
Okay,
and again, I like all music because I will go to a country show. I will.
okay.
Depends on,
Uh,
well, and if I go here, because we're in Nashville, it seems to be a better show than if I went to Atlanta
right.
because the crowd, the energy is different. But it's not often that I go. It just has to
I
be
would
some,
go.
yeah,
I
because
I
it's
would
just
go.
fun. It's a good time.
Right,
Talking about
and it's
seeing some
something. It's
stuff.
right, and it's something that you don't typically do, especially us folk.
Mhm.
So I'm down to do something different.
Yeah.
What about television film? I know you like to
So
read, but do you watch
I
TV? Do
do.
you like movies? Okay.
I don't watch TV. And if I do watch TV, I binge watch. So I just recently binge watched Found, and it's kind of like a detective show. What is his name? Oh, I can't remember. But it's where he uses psychology to figure out who did the crime, basically, helping the
Black
FBI.
guy, black guy,
Mhm.
white guy.
Black?
Evil?
No, he's not evil.
No, no. The name of the show, is that the name of the show? It's
Oh,
a
is that the
black dude.
name of
He's
the
like
show?
a priest.
A professor? No, not that one. I haven't seen that one yet. I want to
Okay,
see
okay,
that
okay, okay,
one. This guy is a professor at a college.
okay. I
Mhm.
heard of that. It sounds interesting. Okay,
Irrational, maybe? Maybe.
okay.
Yeah,
Is
but
that
it's good.
Netflix or
I don't.
okay? I'm sure we can find it. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, so criminal minds,
Mhm.
CSI,
Yes.
stuff like crime. You like true crime as well?
I have to be in the
Not
mood,
so
and
much.
I won't
Okay.
watch it at night because my dreams might not be right.
Yeah, man, I do it where, like we said earlier, I do that way too much. I spend way. That's why I keep my gun very close because
Right.
people are silly.
Yeah.
It's a weird place. This Earth thing. It is weird, man.
Yeah.
Um. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about your ideal guy, your person.
Mhm.
So you told me a little bit about who you are, what you're about, and we're going to get more into that. But I'm interested in the type of dudes that you attract, or even more so, the guys that you're attracted to.
Yep. The guys I'm attracted to will be what we talk about. Leaders. Because I am, how do you say? I'm a go-getter. So he's also got to be that type of go-getter. Whatever
Type A
your
personality.
hmm He, I don't care if that means you want to run to McDonald's. Whatever that is, you're going after it. I don't have a preference on what field of work you are in, as long as you're making sure that you're building a legacy for your kids, your grandkids, great grandkids, whatever that looks like in your world. So leader, he knows how to communicate. Can you communicate your feelings, sir? You can? Okay. Do you understand what that means when you say that? And how do you get through those things? Men haven't been given a platform to speak, I say. And so I look for a man that understands, although I hadn't had a platform, she's listening. And there's not a lot of men that are open to that. And in what I've experienced. And so I try to make sure that you be yourself, honestly and truthfully, whoever you are, whatever you can 100% say, this is who I am every day. I want to see that person. And from there, then I choose either like you or I don't. I found out that sometimes I don't like who that person is.
Yeah,
And it
fair
happens
enough.
just because uh, I dated a guy that I think he understood the assignment of sharing his feelings, but then he overshared. And I was like, wait, I'm not your therapist. I can't go that deep on what happened to you in your childhood, but I can listen. I can't help though.
There's got to be balance.
Yeah.
There's got we get as we get frustrated. We get frustrated because there is a segment. There's a sentiment amongst men right now where we feel like a lot of men feel like women are illogical, unreasonable, and irrational,
Mhm.
and unrealistic as far as what they're looking for. And you're like trying to hop on one leg while you pat your head, while you wave your arm, and even then, well, that other guy can do this, that, and we feel like we're doing everything that we can, but that other guy maybe has this or he's got that. And there's the
Mhm.
sentiment that you have a large segment of women who are only interested in the smallest minority or the smallest segment of eligible men. And so
Mhm.
I think there's a backlash and there's a resentment,
Mhm.
and women have already had the resentment, and because they feel disrespected and they
Mhm.
felt taken advantage of and they felt taken for granted and they
Mhm.
felt violated because of how men have treated them traditionally.
Yeah.
Have you in your dating exploits,
Mhm.
what does the scene look like to you from the young lady that you've spoken with, your friend guys, your friend girls, as far as dating goes, social media, what you've seen versus what you've experienced? How do you feel where do you feel like we are as men and women when it comes to romantic relationships?
I think as a whole, we are in a bad place because people feel like they have more options than they might should think that they have. But I ran a singles group for 3 or 4 years on Facebook, and I got to learn my sisters, which was really fun because I assume they thought like I thought. They act like
Talk
I
to me. Talk to me.
act. That
We
is
want
not
the truth.
that is not the case. And so insecurity comes in many different forms
Right.
and many different creatures. And so um the many things that I learned from that group was we got to start with ourselves. Are you yourself okay? Um, do you love who you are and what you are in spite of having a relationship? If you can't say yes, you're in a different place and you should go somewhere and get some help, whether that's professional help or you got a friend you can talk to. My friends all come to me and talk to me. So, whatever that is, you got to work through those things so that you can heal yourself, so you can truly open up to receive because you never know what form your partner's going to come in. And if you put him in a 7-figure box, but he's not making but 3 figures, but he's great in every other area, can he not, maneuver around that, which is what the culture of dating is now. It's more or less what you're going to do for me. And
Mm,
I think it's a give and take. We have to be able to reciprocate. So when you asked about what I'm looking for, I really am looking for somebody that is the male counterpart of who I am, a go-getter, somebody that's a leader, somebody that is respected, kind, um, caring. I have to stop myself from helping the people on the side of the street because in this day and age, I might get attacked. So let me not do that. So just making sure that what I'm looking for is who I am as well, and that we
that's
have
beautiful.
a path to get to where we're going.
That is beautiful. That is very well said. She said that
Thank you.
brother might be making 3 figures. I hope if he making 3 figures, I hope that's how much he makes daily. But because that is a wide gap between 3 figures and 7 figures, boy. You making 3 figures, that better
Man,
be your that better be your daily income. That is very well
but you never
said.
know. He could be in school. It just depends on
Right.
where you are in life and where he might be at. Meet people where they are and figure out what their goals are before you discount
You you made a lot of good points in your previous statement. And basically, um, I think people have gotten to a point where we are consumed like, well, what are you doing for me? What do you
them.
bring to the table? Who's the
Mhm.
prize? And it's just like it's we I feel like a large segment of our culture has become very toxic.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
I feel like there's a lot of bitterness and resentment between
Yeah.
us. And we'll just talk about, we'll talk about black women and black men just for a moment.
Mhm.
Um, as a black man and as a black woman, I feel like we become very much toxic and we
Mhm.
celebrate and support toxic things, and
Mhm.
we listen to toxic people, and we're unhealed and unhealthy and unwell, going out looking for love, looking for someone to give us what we're unable to give ourselves. And just
Absolutely.
like you said, it starts on the inside. You
Mhm.
have to get yourself together first, and you have
Yeah.
to be what you're looking for. And people are looking for things that they can't give. And I
Mhm.
think there are many people who are resentful, because
Mhm.
why are you out here attempting to find something or to attain something or acquire something that you don't possess,
Yeah. Yeah.
to give in return, as far as reciprocating what
Mhm.
you're expecting?
Right.
Where do you think we go as a culture, as a people? This is where
Mhm.
we are now. Where do we go and how do we get there?
So if I could have a whole just stadium and put us all in it and say, now look at your neighbor and apologize. Just say you're sorry. They just need to hear it. Just hug them. We have fought amongst ourselves, whether it was relationships or for family stuff, children, whatever that is. If we don't come together as a people, we already see what's happening in our country. So we have to know, the ins and outs of what does life look like? What are we trying to do? We just trying to buy Gucci and Louis Vuitton? Do you know they're not gonna come and buy them lashes and the wigs from your store? They're not coming. They're not coming. But here we are. We're your community. But how do we treat each other better? How do we love on each other and start to rebuild our trust amongst one another? Because I think the trust between Black women and Black men, probably even I think between Black women is getting a little better. Black men, I think y'all working on y'all selves too. But betwixt the two of us, the two sexes, we don't trust each other. And so it's hard. And then we bring all these experiences and pour them onto the next person. It's hard. That's hard. You're asking me to carry the weight of the last 20 women you dated because you didn't go heal that. That's not fair to me. That's not fair. So I think we just need to love on each other a little bit more in a friendship way, not just, relationships, um, and be more understanding towards one another.
That used to be a thing. Black love used to be a thing. Um, my sister, my brother, this, that, and the third, and we used to look out for one another and
Yeah.
take care of each other. And something changed. And we
Mhm.
could talk about. I know that slavery and racism has had major impacts on us as a
Mhm.
people, as a culture. But something changed even since then, even since like the civil rights era. I don't know, and things have been done to us, whether the CIA and crack, or the
Mhm.
projects,
Mhm.
or systematic, racism, systemic racism.
Yeah.
But welfare,
Mhm.
locking brothers away, and I think the feminist movement and the LGBT
Mhm.
community, and a lot of different people and places and things have played a role in helping to keep us at odds with one another as Black men and women.
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, it's our responsibility to get back to where we need to be as a
Mhm.
people.
Yeah.
Um, and I think you're right. One of the first steps is apologizing, and hearing each other out. Being able to see each other from the other person's perspective and show each other love again. But it's difficult to do when a lot of us don't love ourselves. Um,
Exactly.
and we
Mhm.
shouldn't be dating if we're not healthy, if we're not whole, if we're not well, if you don't love yourself. That's got to be like the number
Mhm.
one rule. How long have you been on the dating market, or available, open to dating?
Yep. I have been single now 3 years, I think it is. Uh-huh. Maybe
How
it's three and a half.
have your dating experiences overall been positive, negative, or just a little bit of everything?
And so I consider each one to be positive only because I'm gonna learn something from it.
Right.
I haven't had any horrible experiences. Have I had to turn my masculine on and go off? Absolutely. But only because you asked for it. And I say that to say, I have one particular guy in mind, but I'll skip over that. But over the course of dating, I think I've learned what my boundaries were because I don't think I really had them. I think I knew them, but we're as women, I'm gonna just talk about women. I think we're excited that somebody likes us and we like them. So we dive in and we hope it gets better. That's not the case. And we should know
Incorrect.
we should know what our boundaries are. And so over these 3 years, I've dated off and on. And so I focus more on work as of late just because it's work. Um, and I hadn't really dove into um, the dating scene. Like I had been on some dating apps and things, and that pool seems like a cesspool. So I tried to stay away from there. And so I did say to myself, I'm committing to going outside this summer. And I'm going to make sure I'm outside because I'm not going to find him in my house. He's got to be outside somewhere. So maybe I'll bump into him.
Since you began putting yourself back out there, what has surprised you the most about men, dating, relationships, the
Mhm,
game? What has
mhm.
surprised? What have you found most surprising or most fascinating?
I would say that it's the way some people present themselves. And I don't know if maybe my energy gives off that you're supposed to be a certain way. I'm the most relaxed, chill person you probably ever gonna meet, even though I may look like, oh, you got to do this, 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 and this. I mean, of course, you got to be a certain way, but I'm not putting any pressure on anyone. So I've noticed that guys present one way to me, and very shortly after, they are not that person. And so I get to find out one, you're immature, or you're not a leader, or you have no ambition in your life. You say it, but you're really not chasing it. And so you're good with talking about it versus doing. And so that's a big red flag for me because that's not what I'm looking for.
So, and I've heard that repeatedly because I've asked that question to several of my guests, and I, I think they've, anybody, I think every woman I've asked that question to has pretty much said the same thing. There's that men are there's a deceitfulness. Um,
Mhm.
they're not genuine. What's the opposite of that? They're insincere, they're inauthentic,
Yeah.
and then you don't find out until later
Mhm.
who they really are.
Mhm.
How do you as women combat or overcome or circumvent that?
For me, I ask a lot of questions. And so if you're irritated by questions, you won't make it past a couple of days because that's sometimes I'll play it as a game. Hey, let's play 20 questions. I'll ask, you answer. You can ask me the same, or you ask and I'll answer. But I try to make it not so overwhelming because it's not just a repeat fire type thing, but it's more or less to be relaxed and just understanding who we are as a person versus who you're trying to show me you are. And sometimes the simplest questions are the ones that will show you who that man is. Just the trying to think of one of the questions. What's your favorite toy from your childhood?
That's different.
Or yeah, and you tell me toys. I didn't play with no toys. Oh no, yeah. I was
The
still
correct answer is He-Man, action figure, or Transformers. Maybe Legos. Just depends on the age.
something besides. I didn't play with toys. There was something going on in your household if you didn't play with toys. So you have some trauma there, and I don't want to figure it out later.
That's deep.
Hmm.
That's deep.
Hmm.
Um, I like that. And I feel, and I've said this, I've tried to explain this to young ladies. Two things. Number one, a kingdom man, a quality man will never fault you or blame you for asking him a lot of questions. What kind of woman? You're supposed to ask a lot of questions. We know that. We understand that. If he
Mm-hmm.
has a problem, if he's showing you he has an issue with you asking him a lot of questions, that's a red flag. That is an
Yep.
immediate red flag.
Yep.
Number two, the reason a lot of women don't ask questions is because, like you were saying, y'all, oh, I like him. I want him to like me. I don't want to run him off. I don't want to scare him away. But that shows that you have low self worth and self value.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because if you value yourself like you should, you want to get to know as much about me as you possibly can. If you're not
Right.
really asking, then that
Mm-hmm.
tells me there's something about you that's like, all right, I already got her. And
Mm-hmm.
that can bring about a predator mentality from a guy
Yep.
because he can sense that you don't value yourself like you properly should. And three, and I don't, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say this is probably for every man. We like to talk about ourselves. So I don't mind talking about myself.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's an ego thing, especially if a woman is sitting there listening and like, oh yeah, tell me more. And you're like fascinated about hearing about who I am as a man and as a person. That's an ego boost, number one. And number two, it's easy because I'm me. So of course I know myself well. So it's not no trick questions, especially if
Mm-hmm.
I have nothing to hide. So
Right.
and finally, it lets me know by the types of questions a woman asks me that gives me an idea of who she is and what matters to her. So I can't express it enough. You've
Mm-hmm.
got to ask questions. Why would you not ask a stranger questions when he's
Right.
trying to get close to you, right?
Right.
So
And
you
let's
got to
go
ask
back to
questions.
he's a stranger, lady. He's a stranger, sister. You just met him. I don't care if it's been 2 months. He's still a stranger to you because some people can hide for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 months. You have to ask the questions. And
This is the man you're gonna have around your kids, in your
mm,
home, in
mhm.
your intimate spaces. He's gonna have an impact on you spiritually,
Yep.
mentally, emotionally, in your body. You got to ask questions, and for the women that don't want to ask questions, it says more about you than it does about him. And it doesn't matter how he feels or what he thinks about it. That's
Mhm.
on you.
Yeah.
So women's intuition is a thing. It's not really intuition. It's your spirit man revealing things to you about a person. It
Right.
is real because women traditionally are more sensitive emotionally,
Mhm.
spiritually. So the Holy Spirit will tell you everything. I don't want to get, it is what it is. I'm a Christian. So the Holy Spirit
Mhm.
is going to tell you what it is. If you go
Yes.
to God and you ask God about that individual, along with asking him questions, the truth is going to show up sooner or later.
Yeah.
Um, do you feel like it's going to get better from here as a society? And when I say society, I mean dating, loving each other, respecting and valuing one another, being married for 20, 30, 40 years. Do you think that that is a place that we can aspire to return to as a society? Or do you feel like it's kind of, I don't want to say downhill from here, but it's not
If
it
you knew
doesn't
what
look
was
it
going
doesn't
through
look
my
great.
head. So I think that if we work on it, enough of us work on it and we start to change our expectations and our boundaries. I was just talking to a girlfriend and telling her, no, honey, you're supposed to have boundaries. If you don't have boundaries, what's wrong with you? It ain't him, it's you. Well, he was mad. Let him be mad. Bye. And so if we change the way in which we're dating, yeah, we can, there's always up from here. But I thought about my daughter when you said that, and we had a conversation. Do you know what a lavender marriage is?
I don't. I've never heard of a lavender marriage. No.
My old
Educate me,
self,
sis. Educate
yeah,
me.
my old self got schooled. She was like, "Mom, I don't want any kids, but I think I might do a lavender marriage." And I said, "What's that? You gonna have your colors gonna be lavender?" Okay, that's fine. She was like, "No, that means I'm gonna marry a gay man and we're just gonna build a legacy." And I said, hmm.
It's getting bad out here. It's getting bad.
I said, wait,
It's getting
wait.
bad. We purposely marrying
Still
gay
had
people.
hope that
It's
there was a grandchild gonna come. Busy head. But she said it's bad. And I'm sorry, that's my dog.
that's you're fine. Podcast. It is what it is. It's all
So,
good.
just talking to her through it, I understood where she was coming from. She said, because dating in her age group, she's 28. So her age group, she said it feels worse than dating in my age group. And I said, can't be worse because these men my age supposed to understand and know. And she said, well, they don't have no ambition. And so because she's my child, she's a go-getter too. At 28, she's modeling. She has a master's degree. She's in management at a law firm. So it's kind of like, I don't know. I didn't think about who you was gonna marry. I told you to find him while you was in college, but you didn't. So I'm sorry. I don't know. I don't even know what to tell her because is it gonna get better if we're not raising our men and our young women to be leaders? They won't be leaders. They don't know how.
As a group, and I don't have stats in front of me, but I'm gonna say as a group, Black women are the least likely to date and marry outside of their race,
Mm-hmm.
to their detriment, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think there seems to be a coordinated almost agreement
Mm-hmm.
amongst women of color that we're only gonna date these brothers, even though they this and they're that, and I'm sick of this and I'm tired of that, and they won't do this and they can't do that. But you know what? I'm not gonna look outside. I'm not gonna explore outside of my race. Why do you think that is? I'm not saying whether that's positive or negative. I'm just curious on your thoughts.
So I'm probably the wrong person to ask because I have dated outside. But
I would
value.
say then that you're the right person to ask, but that's my opinion. So I can't
Okay.
wait to hear how you feel about it. But
Yeah. So when me and my friends talk about it, it's because we value our Black kings. And that's literally the words we use. We hope they're going to get okay. We hope they're going to grow. They're going to learn. They're going to heal. They're going to go to therapy type things because those are the things that we're doing. So why would you not go and do those things? And so we're always going to want to support our Black men. Even when I was dating outside of my race, I'm telling you, he was the blackest white man I had ever seen on this side of the earth. I mean, he was the blackest white man, and his skin color was the only thing that would tell you he was white. But that's how I liked him because he knew all of our music, and not that he was, sometimes you get the other cultures that want to pretend
appropriate cultural appropriation.
they trying to be like they got their hair braided, they walking around. That was not who he was. He literally grew up in Ohio in a Black neighborhood, just happened to be the only white kid there, and was that man. And so, but, and that's literally what attracted me to him because I was like, wait a minute, what you say? Oh, okay, that's different. And I had to pay attention because I was like, wait, is he faking it? Because you want to know, as I'm gonna say this, and I hope I don't offend nobody. As Black women, I think too, we're afraid to date outside of our race because racism is a problem. And so you take me home, now you're not abusing me, but your family is. They're talking crazy, looking crazy. They don't want to give you your inheritance because of me. That's a problem. And so those things bubble up in our heads because we don't want to cause no problems, just in general. Now, some of us do, but for the most part, we are not trying to cause no problems in a family unit, especially one that I'm trying to be a part of. So he just happened to be a lucky duck. That was just a little bit blacker than I thought. And um, we had a good relationship actually until I met his cousins who were racist. And we literally had to create a go code if I felt too uncomfortable. And we left. But we can't live like that. You can't live fearful if you're in the presence of. And I don't want to keep you from your family. That's not who I'm. You're not going to be happy. And we're a unit. So why would we have to, you go and I'll stay home type stuff? So I just think that love, love should have no colors, but you have to be careful.
Or else you have a biracial kid being raised by, hanging out with Uncle So and So who just had a nigga this, nigga that, a few weeks prior, or the
Mhm.
grandparents blatantly racist, but now they have to accept and attempt to adjust when in their heart is, whatever
Mhm.
is there is going to be there before and
Yeah.
after the interracial relationship. Um, it's tough. It's tricky.
Mhm.
But I do think we need to love ourselves as a culture first, primarily, and white folks, they need to love themselves as a culture first, primarily, and then we do that successfully. Then we could possibly navigate the interracial relationships a bit more effectively and
Mhm.
successfully without some of the drama and trauma that comes along with it. Um,
Yes.
just a couple more questions, and I'm gonna get you out of here.
Okay.
Um, Matter of fact, what would you, as a black woman, what would you like to say to the brothers out here from, just from your heart, from your perspective, things that you've heard, things that you've seen? What would you want black women to know speaking on behalf? I'm sorry, what would you want black men to know speaking on behalf of black women?
Be yourself, your true self, whatever that looks like, and let that woman decide if she loves you for who you are. It's easy. However, sometimes we make it hard because one, you're afraid of her not liking you for X, Y, or Z, her not standing by your side. But if she herself is a healed woman, she loves you, she'll stand by your side regardless. But definitely being yourself and being honest, because these lies and mask and games is overwhelming. But yet and still we get called, we got attitudes and we mad, but we're being confronted with lies. And so then when we act out about that, now we're the problem. Well, don't come to us that way. Just be yourself.
And it should be simpler. It
Should
sounds simple enough.
be.
Being yourself should be the easiest thing, but I think for a lot of people, they don't love themselves, they don't like themselves. And so why would they want to be themselves? They
Right.
would rather be almost anyone other than themselves. So got to
Mhm.
get healing first.
Yeah.
Um, do the work,
Mhm.
developing and building, cultivating your relationship with the Lord,
Mhm.
being able to see Him, see yourself through His eyes and from His perspective, and not based upon, a lot of men find self worth and value based on how much money they have,
Mhm.
their
Yeah.
sexual prowess,
Yep.
their title, their position. And if they don't
Mhm.
feel like they're in a position that's going to be respected, then they don't feel like they have any value to
Mhm.
society. They don't feel good about themselves. And that's a
Yeah.
cycle that's been perpetuated, unfortunately, by the masses, so to speak. So
Mhm.
um, you
Yeah,
got to
I definitely
understand.
learned that. I learned that in the singles group from the guys. I was like, well, who taught you to date more than one woman at a time? Oh, the homies on the street. What you mean? I don't understand. We didn't get no lessons from no home girls on the street. What you talking about? So we don't understand that while you was hanging out on the street, the uncles on the street was teaching you these things that they shouldn't have been teaching you. But how do you fix it? Well, don't teach it to your son and nephews and the men, the little boys around you so that it stops.
Have to unlearn a lot of what we've learned.
Mhm.
What about to the ladies, to the women out here? What would you, words
Mhm.
of advice, inspiration, encouragement? What would you want to say to them?
Same thing, a similar thing. Being yourself, but make sure you're healed. Love yourself before you ask anybody else to love you and make you happy. You have to do those things for yourself.
And ladies, if you go out there looking for a man, desperate for a man to love you, um, you're setting yourself up for failure because you're
Mhm.
going to put yourself in a position where as soon as he senses that desperation or that need that comes from anything other than your relationship with God or who you are on the inside, it's a lot of men who will take advantage of you and take advantage of that, unfortunately. Would
Yes,
you agree?
I agree. I do.
Last words, Renetta, and I thank you so much for your time. It's been a pleasure. I
Mhm.
appreciate you.
Thanks for
I
inviting
value
me.
you, my sister. You're welcome. My pleasure. So, what would you want to say? Last words to the world? Something just encouragement, inspiration, just any concept or anything that's important to you that you want to, any belief that you have, anything that you want to represent. What would it be?
I think one of the things I tell myself is that I am. And so I would tell everyone to know what that means, which it means I am worthy, I am loved, I am supported, I am all that I need. And outside of that, I welcome the same energy in. And so just knowing that you are enough, no matter who you are enough for the who and who you are.
Do you speak those affirmations over yourself daily?
Yes.
Beautiful. Beautiful. If y'all want to get in contact with Renetta, you can do so through the contacts, I'm sorry, through the comments, or you can reach her directly at bwaynepresents@gmail.com. Thank you once again, my sister. It has been a
You're
pleasure.
welcome. You're welcome. It's been
Talk to you
good.
soon.
Thank you. Bye.